definitely live earlier. So I don't know why it's not doing now. Hey Sean, I sent you an invite too, and I accepted yours. So you should see something right on the column section where people logging in that says view or accept. You want to click that. Something right on the section right there. You should see something say view or accept, live stream, view or accept. You see it? See something right there. Probably right before it says add no logged in. Cause I could see you, see you in. See you in. I'm sending you an invite, so you should see an invite. Click view or accept. Type
Yes,
them in. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There
let's
we go.
finally get it.
All right, we just start now. Boy, Sean, yeah, episode. This is the one for the books.
Yeah, this is really a hard one, Ram. Really, really hard one. We've been
So
trying what for the last hour.
yes, I would say we've been trying for the last hour. But
Yeah.
thank you again for coming. So without further
Yes.
ado, thank you for coming to off season. This is a show by the University Athletics and of course University Relations. And I'm your host, Ren, from Office of Relations, and we're talking to one of the men, the geniuses behind the program, Mr. Sean Bastian today. And of course, Sean, I don't think either of us would imagine that we would have been returning to the beginning, the genesis of why the show started, lockdown.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time. You trying to get me on for like the last 7 weeks, but finally made it.
Yeah. And this is, I think, for our country and definitely our sports program, this is sad that we've now returned back to this reality. Shout out to Coach Edno. He just reached out to me to say he got to do his Zoom workouts again. And it's just so much, man. I really thought we finally got a break and we're finally going back to, empowering our students in person, the program running as we know it. But, like, now you're home with your family again, which is
Yeah,
good.
Ram. For me, it was really a tough pill to swallow with this lockdown. To say, I really thought we were improving as a country, and I was thinking August would have been a better month for us to really get our programs up and running. But unfortunately, this weekend is another lockdown, and I think the Prime Minister say every other weekend or every weekend we might have to experience the same thing. So it's not a good feeling as we move forward, but let's continue to be positive and let's hope that things will change and the people will really follow the proper protocols and really wear their masks and stay away and stay home. So let's hope that the next couple of weeks we'll see some improvement on our spike.
I do agree. So without further ado, I have to ask my number one question, which is, when did the ball start moving for you, Sean? I know you're an athlete, I know you had a basketball career, but when did that start?
Well, Ram, I would say back in 1993, while I was working at the Ministry of Youth as a youth officer, I always wanted to give back to basketball. And in 93, I started a Positive Boys Club. It was comprised of over about 200 young men. I started a mini and a super mini basketball league, and I had another friend of mine, George Hepburn, assisting me. And we run that Positive Boys Club for 5 years. And we were successful in having number of tournaments in AFR League. And we had a number of young men that came through the club that aspired to get scholarships and went off to school. So back in '93, my coaching career had started, and it really took off in 2001. 2001, while I was working at COB at the time, Wade Watson approached me in 2001 and said, "Man, Sean, I would like to start a men's basketball team." And he asked me to assist him with it. So we started it in '01. And unfortunately, in '03, he had to leave and he went to Ministry of Finance. So I took over the program in '03, and we were able to put the team in the New Providence Basketball Association, and we were somewhat successful. We didn't win a lot of the games that we would have liked, but I think for a young program that had just COB students, athletes at the time, I think we were able to hold our own. Unfortunately, we had some challenges with practice facility back in '03. You know, we used to practice outside in the backcourt on the asphalt, and that proved to be some challenges for us because a lot of the athletes used to get injured, and we didn't have what we have now with trainers. But back then, also practicing on the backcourts, we used to have a lot of distractions. We either had practice early in the morning or late in the evening. And, having it in the outside and the weather elements, it posed a problem for us. But we were still able to field teams. And also back then, I would say we had a lot of volunteers in terms of the young men. They played for us. And then they wasn't consistent with every year. I also had an assistant coach, Kirk Bastian. And every year, Kirk and I used to be starting over with a brand new team because the young men at the time, we were associate program, COB was associate program, and for somehow they either went off to another college in the United States, or they discontinued to go and look for a job, or they just stopped. So every year, we found out that we had a small return in terms of 3 or 4 players. And it was basically starting all over again. So that was a problem for us. Also, during those early stages of the basketball program, we were able to establish or bring back the Kepa Bell basketball tournament back then. And it was comprised of the tertiary schools at that time, Success Training College, Bahamas Baptist Community College, Galilee College. And we were able to form a particular tertiary league with the assistance of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Sports Department, more particularly Mrs. Aria Knowles. She was the lead person with that particular tertiary league. We had men's basketball and women's volleyball. And we were successful. We won the championships during those early stages because it was an even playing field because the players were from those various institutions. Also, we were able to establish a tertiary league in Grand Bahama. So at that time, we were able to travel to Grand Bahama with the men's basketball team. And we were successful because, as I said, it was an even level playing field where those players were from those institutions in Grand Bahama. And we were successful in winning the championships. I would say over the years of my 12 years coaching career, I've seen the program, the basketball program had evolved, and in 2012, I stepped down and passed it on to Bacchus Rule, who's the present coach. But I want to take it back a little further with the basketball program, and then I'll talk a little bit about the growth and the advancement of the athletics department.
That's fine.
In 1980, I did some research. Fred Delancey from out of Freeport was hired in the campus life department, and he started the men's basketball program in 1980 to 1982. And he took the program for like several years. And after he left went to Grand Bahama, the basketball program really didn't have, in terms of a leadership or a coach. So in the early 90s, Cynthia Mother Pratt, the Honorable Cynthia Mother Pratt, came on staff as assistant director in the campus life department, and she started the basketball program. And she was able to take the men's teams throughout the states playing games. After she left, the program really didn't have a coach or a team. So it was good that Wade and I started it in '01. So over the years, the program had progressed, and now Bacchus has really taken it to another level. And over the years, I've seen the improvement of the players. The basketball program is really, really impressive in terms of the quality of players. You know, having Kimsey Silvestri, you can see the level of talent has really progressed. Now, Rem, with the athletic department, Greg Hashaw was the first AD. He came in '05 and he established the program. We had in '07 provisional membership in the Sun Conference for 2 years, and we were able to compete. And during those 2 years, I can recall when I first started in '05 with scheduling games. It was the men's and women's basketball team at that present time. And I can recall, because Kirk Basin, my assistant coach, we always laugh at it. I scheduled 5 games, 5 weeks, weekends back to back. And more and more, that posed major problems. Every weekend, the players were in competition for 5 weeks. And at the 4th week, they were very, very tired and they really, their bodies wasn't really after that 5 weeks back to back having competition. So I've learned over the years, scheduling is very important if you want to be successful on the international scene. Mrs. Kimberly Roll came in, I think it was 2011, thereabouts, and Mrs. Roll really organized and put some structure to the athletics department. And that's where we are today with a person like yourself, Chris Sanders. And I think our major success, I would say right now, bringing on staff is our athletic training department with Mrs. Sasha Johnson and Ms. Shakitha Henfield. I think having those trainers here, it helps us with our athletes, because back then when we first started with the program, we didn't have any trainers. So having the athletic trainers on staff now, they're able to assist with injuries and getting our athletes back on the fields or back on the court. So that's a major plus. Over the years, we had major vice presidents who took charge over the athletics department. And I think the major plus right now is being under the leadership of Marcellus, Dr. Marcellus Ferguson. I think having her as our lead person, I've seen the program really, really advance and taken off, and hats off to her. But over the years, I've seen the growth. And we have, at this present time, we have some really credible coaches, some very professional and assistant coaches that are leading our program at this time. But I would just want to give you some little history. I brought down some.
On this. I don't even want to stop you. And for our listeners,
yes.
There's only few times you can really learn. And I'm a proud Caribbean Mingo. It's only few times you could really hear the backstory of what you now see. So I think this is what we need. You know what I mean? We need to have this.
Yes.
So please continue.
Yes, I was able to put a list together of the various coaches that came over the years that assisted with the program, and you'll be shocked. I want to start off with our men's soccer. I really appreciate those coaches over the years who were pioneers in building the program to where it's at now. In men's soccer, we started off with Stephen Bellick. After him, we hired Van Dyke Bethel, and we are right now presently with Dion Godet. In track and field, we first started off with Bradley Cooper Sr., and then we move on to Edward Clark. He run the program, the track and field program, for a number of years, about 2 years. And then Mark Humes took over. And then we had Rupert Gardner. He assisted with the program in track and field. And we're now with Edna Roll, who is full-time as a track and field cross-country head coach. Then women's soccer. We had Paul McCann. He's a lecturer with UB. He was the first soccer coach for female He had the female soccer program for a number of years, and then Van Dyke Bethel took it over from him. In men's basketball, as I said, Fred Delancey, back in the early 80s, he had the men's program, and then the Honorable Cynthia Mother Pratt took over from him. And then Wade Watson, and then myself came over, started, assisted with Wade and took over from Wade, and now we're with Bacchus Rule. Women's softball, a little history with that. Our first coach with women's softball was Troppy Knowles.
Troppy was my guy.
Yeah, Troppy was our first women's softball coach, and he was assisted with his wife, Aurea Knowles. And after Troppy passed, Aurea took it over. And Aurea was a coach for our women's softball team for a number of years. And then where we are now is Sheen Albury, former national team coach. And we look for bigger things from Sheen and our women's softball program. Now, back then, we had men's volleyball. We had that for one season. Mark Humes had that program. And then women's volleyball. When we first started off, we had Senator Jennifer Dotson-Isaac. She started the program, and then Cora Heboyne took it over from her. And then where we are now with head coach Raymond Wilson. We have a judo, Dorsey Raming Jr., and then golf, we have Jim Duncan. So over the years, you will see.
I mentioned we had Ronaldo. Ronaldo knows too in volleyball.
Yes, Ronaldo. Yeah, I missed Ronaldo. Ronaldo came after Jenny, and then Cara came after him. But over the years, more and more, I've seen the advancement or the improvement of our coaches and even our assistant coaches. I must give a clap and hands up for our assistant coaches. They're really professionals in terms of how they assist with our head coaching. And I see the future very bright for our program as we move forward in the years to come.
I wanna take a second, and Sean, you have this fire that I'm hearing in that even when it was rough and even when the past couldn't be seen. I'm sure when you were with Wade, you didn't see all of this, but you saw something. So what was that driving force to stick with it until now?
Well, I could say for myself, when I was in college, I always felt that we need more opportunities for our young men and our young women to achieve their goals and their dreams. Especially for myself, I wanted to become a professional basketball player. So, back then when I was in college, I said that when I returned back home, I wanted to give back and to give back to the sport that helped me. So I always wanted to assist with sports and sports development and helping young people achieve their dreams and their goals. So I always felt that was a drive that I had way back, and I wanted to continue. It was not easy. Sometimes it was discouraging because with anything in life, trying to do something positive in the beginning is always hard and difficult. And as I said with Wade and I, when we first started in the New Providence Basketball Association League, we didn't win any games in the first year or two per se.
And for the record audience, I mentioned that every show that I would have had money, UB would do it. Even with Gavin, and shout out to G, I just talked to G this morning about something. Even with Gavin, like UB was known for losing.
Yes, and hats off to Gavin Lightburn, him and the guys back there. Back then, they really was hardcore carers back then, and they really wanted to see the program evolve. I also had players who really put their heart and soul in the early stages, and I call them pioneers because they did a sacrifice. If they come back now and see what we have evolved into in terms of the uniform, the equipment, the trips that we take, they'll be very, very impressed with it because back then we didn't have all what we have now. But I always said to them back then, you are pioneers. You're building something for future generation to really be able to receive and appreciate. So it's all about sacrifices, Ram. It's all about sacrifices.
I wanna dig a little bit more because I don't take it as any light feat. Yourself, Bacchus, Sheen, you all have mentioned that you have become collegiate athletes. That is to say, as Bahamians, you went through the high school system and you didn't just go to the local college, you went abroad. Tell us a little bit about that. How were your stats inside high school? How was your passion for basketball and the process of going abroad?
Well, I graduated from R.M. Bailey in '84, and I was a basketball player playing at a high level, and I always thought that right then and there I was being able to get a scholarship to go off right away. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I got my full scholarship back in '86. I played in an independence tournament that was hosted by the Bahamas Basketball Federation. And three coaches came down, and three coaches gave me a full scholarship. But I only decided to attend Franklin Pierce College. Back then, it was Franklin Pierce College, but at this time, it's Franklin Pierce University. I had a full year, $80,000 scholarship for 4 years.
Whoa.
And I'm much appreciative of it today because I was able to graduate in 4 years with a mass communication degree. During that time, I was somewhat successful in my college career, but not at the level or in terms of the success, in terms of playing that I would have liked. But fortunately, as most Bahamians back then in the middle 80s or late 80s, it was saying that we were not graduating, but a lot of Bahamian basketball players was not graduating at that time. Fortunately, I was one of them who was able to graduate on time. And I just want to say that I've came full circle with basketball. One time ago, I could play it. I used to coach it one time, and I used to be able to score it. And I was able to be successful with being a part of the executive board of Bahamas Basketball Federation as a general secretary. And I was able to bring some structure and some programs to the highest level in basketball in this country. So I'm much appreciative of what God has blessed me with in terms of being able to come full circle with the sport that was able to help me to be somewhat successful. So basketball over the years, from a national perspective, I've seen the growth and development of basketball.
Now, we've touched the past, so we have to touch the present. So, Sean, you're a very busy man. I want you to firstly let our audience and anybody who didn't know, let them know what does your job allow you, or what does it have you doing on a daily basis, one. And I also want you to touch on maybe some communities or initiatives you're involved in the larger community.
Well, boy, my job is to schedule international competition for the various teams and the track program and various programs. We have tried to find competition. And by UB not being a part of a conference, it's sometimes a little challenging because I have to speak personally with the coaches and the AD of those various universities to schedule games with us. I've been 80% successful with that. It's not easy finding games outside of the U.S. Conferences teams, but over the years we've been successful, and I've been successful with bringing matches for our teams to travel to, and successful for teams coming over to play our teams here on the local soil. So basically, I'm responsible for international competition and getting our teams ready for the trips, booking hotels, ground transportation, meals, you name it. I'm responsible for anytime our team leave this country, this island, I'm responsible for making sure they're safe, the competition is and the environment is conducive for our players and coaches and athletes.
And before I get into your local involvement, I want to say, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I can call it the opportunity, but I've had the chance to be a roommate with Sean, and I can tell you this, Sean knows the man is disciplined. I'm talking about you thinking you could stay in bed and sleep, Sean, and tap on you, hey, we got to go, Ram. We got to get in the truck. We got to get the players up.
Yes,
so having
yes.
that opportunity to bump with Sean also taught me how much the department budgeted. Because it would be ideal to say everybody could get their own room, but that isn't the reality. We share rooms so that we can have more people to really make that impact on an international board. So I feel like, Sean, you're doing a fantastic job, if nobody ever said it. And this forum, this discussion, I think, can allow athletes who are in the program to understand why you're so passionate about what you do and how you do it. So what about Yeah, international and local, but any other involvements, maybe a league you're involved with, or board, any other things you're involved with
Yeah.
locally?
Yeah, presently I'm the General Secretary of Bahamas Handball Federation. That's a federation I've been started 4 years ago. Excuse me, 4 years ago. So I've been leading that charge in terms of trying to organize that and bring some structure to handball here in the Bahamas. And hopefully, when we get over this pandemic, 21 will be where we'll be able to introduce it to the Bahamian public and have national teams and national coaches travel to compete. But
Now, hold on.
as I said,
Handball is similar to parking, right? It's a little bit like parking, right?
yes, yes, a little bit of parking. Let me get some water because I'm starting to lose my voice.
Oh, that's fine. I'll entertain them until you come back. Little shoulder in. Get them with the shoulder in. That's it. Okay, go here, 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 here. Stop. Switch it up. Here, here.
Yes, I'm back.
Cool.
Yeah, handball is a new sport to the Bahamas. As I said, it's been in existence for 4 years, and we're trying to bring some structure and some organization to it. I think next year we'll be able to, we had several workouts and practices and we named some coaches to it, but with this situation, the summer was supposed to be our breakout season where we really bring it to the public. So next year, I think we'll be able to give a better showing of future opportunity for handball here in the Bahamas.
Excellent.
It's similar to soccer, but unfortunately it's not that.
Listen, between the whole parking conversation and Bahamians just basically growing up with it, I feel like that's a sport that, of course, it's in the Olympics. One day the Bahamas could take as a goal. I just feel like it's
Yes.
already in us.
Yes, that's why when I was asked to assist with that program, I jump on as quick as possible because I know there's a bright future for it because we have natural talent, Mortimer. We already have natural talent, and I've seen when we had a few practices, the young men and young women picked it up very easy. So the future is very bright for Bahamas Handball Federation.
So, Sean, this is my final question, but of course we open up the floor to the audience, which is, we ask every basketball fanatic of the Mingos brand to name their top, and I'll go on Barker's screen of saying top 7 players. So we have had a listing that's more skewed toward the Mingos, but with your experience and over 12 years of being a part of it, who would you consider your top 7 players that have passed through the program?
And basketball?
In basketball.
Well, I would say Kimsey is the number one.
Okay.
I will go with Gavin Lightburn, Theron Butler, Jerron Johnson.
I know, well, Gavin, of course, I think most people know G, but who is Theron Butler?
Theron Butler played for me for 4 years. Actually, personally, for me, that was one of my favorite players who, offense and defense, and who had that sacrifice killer instinct to really want to go there and sacrifice his body. Theron was one of my favorite players that really followed my game plan and really put his heart and soul in every game. For the 4 years I had him, that was a very impressive. I mean, but I'm going to give you what I think, and then you guys could juggle it out. As I said,
UJ's list tomorrow. Don't worry. We compare your list to UJ list. Don't worry about that.
Okay, Theron Butler, Jerron Johnson. You know Jerron Johnson, Wall?
That's Wall, right?
Yeah, Wall. I would say Justin Smith could be in the conversation.
All right, Justin always making the list, man. Last hope. You got 2 more, I believe.
I would go with Shaky could be in the conversation too.
What? Shaky,
yeah, Shaky could be in the conversation.
All right, so we got Shakes in it, and let's go. 1 more.
I like Reuben Goodman. Reuben Goodman could be. Reuben has to be in that too.
Okay.
Reuben has to be in there.
We got Gavin, we got Theron Butler, we have Kimsey Sylvester, Ramon Shaky Deems, Justin Last Hope, Reuben Butler, and I forgot one. Who was it? Did I forget one?
Was it Theron? Did you call Theron Butler?
Called Theron.
Jerron Johnson?
Yeah, I think it's Sharon Johnson Wall. Yeah, that's who I was missing. So my question is, now this is the first time in any listing this guy didn't make it. Alvaro Lang. How was he as a player?
Oh, yeah. I made a mistake. Lying.
Oh,
Yes. How can I forget Lang? You know, Lang was my first scholarship player.
Which year?
No, Lang has to be a part of that. Lang has to be a part of that.
Which year was that Lang got the scholarship?
Lang got the scholarship back in '08, I think it was. '08. Him and Ruben was almost close, but '08, '09, thereabouts. Lang was with me for a number of years. A very hardcore player, very mannerly and respectful. And he was like a coach's type of player, you know, very mannerly and respectable.
So give me the 7 again. In light of Lang now, give me your new 7. And ladies and gentlemen, you're free to put in the comments any questions you may have for Sean. As always, we leave a 2-minute mark to take all your questions to answer them, and we continue answering until the time period is over.
Okay, I'll go with Kimsey, Garvin, Jerron, Albano, Theron, Ruben, and Justin Smith.
You have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have Sean's top 7. Of course, we have Marcus's 7. We have Kimsey's 7 or 5. I think Kimsey gave 5. We have Shaky's 5. So we got some listings that we could compare, but a lot of names you could have being repeated. But again, we open up the floor to you now, Sean. A fantastic interview. I feel like this is something that documents the history of the program. You have mentioned a lot of coaches and assistant coaches that we've had on over the year, from the Honorable Mark Hume to Senator Jenny Dawson. I feel like we've had, and of course, the
Honorable Cynthia Mother Pratt.
Yeah, Mother Pratt as well. And
yes.
Even, you know, R.I.P. to Choppy. He was my little league coach when I went off for the Bahamas at a young age playing baseball.
Yes.
Choppy was very fundamental, man. He taught me how to pitch when I was young. I was a pitcher and catcher, infielder, all because of Choppy. So we're opening up the floor to any questions you may have. Shout outs to Sasha in the athletics training department. I see y'all in here. Shout outs to Miss Roll. I see you in here. Who else do you have in here? Let's see. I won't pick on nobody. I won't call out everybody new. But we have a lot of people in here. We're here just to take some questions. While we wait for them, Sean. Yeah, how did this affect you? Like, were you already starting to get optimistic and reaching out to some colleges when we were opening up the country? Like, how did this affect your planning?
Well, you know, in the early stages, you know, because our games don't count on their schedule, it's not easy trying to have them give us opportunities to play them. But just developing up a relationship with them, consistently emailing them and calling them, and you know, over the years, I've have some relationships with coaches that stem back over 15 years. And what I found out is networking is so important in this profession. Asking individuals to refer you is a good plus, because once you are referred by a credible coach or AD, they tend to give you an opportunity and listen to you and give you a chance. So it's not easy, but over the years, I've been able to get some quality competition for our various teams.
All right. So we're still opening up the floor. Any questions you may have for Sean? I can think of a few more, but I don't want to, take all your time, Sean. I don't want to keep stealing and hogging your time. I want to give Edna a chance. I want to give Coach Sheen a chance, And yes, R.I.P. to Choppy, man. But Choppy was old, but he still was doing that just amending. I know if you saw it. He had that black hair walking around. I look at Choppy one day in the morning. I say, Choppy, come on, man. Come on, let it go.
As I said earlier, with those listing of coaches that head the program in the early stages, the improvement, the advancement, every so often, our coaches level has improved in terms of their knowledge and their professionalism. So every year the program is improving. So as I said, and even with the assistant coaches, I see us having a bright future. Just we need to just look at a couple more things to tweak the program with.
I thought of two things. One, when you were mentioning the teams, I know you mentioned soccer, but was the soccer coach the same for women and men coach? I can't remember if you said that. Was it the same?
Yeah, Van Dyke Bethel, after Paul McCann stepped down from the men's team, he was coaching men and women's soccer, not at the same time, but he was able to have some coaching, he had some good coaching experience, so he was able to take over the women's program. And that was a major plus for us. So over the years, we've seen coaches who really work in the program and really took the program to another level.
And the second question, I want to just get this clear. I know Kim touched the court before. Was she a player or was she a coach?
Oh, Kim was a player, man. Kim was a player. Kim was a player. You know, she always talk about that jump shot, but for real, Kim really could really play, man. In terms of skill set.
No, Sean, I know that's your boss. You don't have to be.
Okay, all right. I'll leave that alone. Yeah, man. Kim was an all-star.
No,
Kim was an all-star.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta censor this out. I'll cut this out. We don't need those kind of comments here, Sean. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I don't see any questions. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Off Season. I'm glad to tell you that this will be on the 10th Year Senior podcast. So you will hear from Sean again on an international level. And I think this kind of information is what our international audience needs to learn of how much this program has grown. Any final words you have for us, Sean?
Yes, if any of our players are in the chat, I would want them to really think about this. When their collegiate career is done, I would like them to really think about giving back to that particular sport that helped them. I think for over the years, a lot of athletes have graduated, come back, get good jobs, and never really returned to assist or try to help that particular sport. Now, you may not be a coach or assistant coach, but you can become a volunteer in the development programs of that particular sport that you play. So I really would like our collegiate athletes, when they finish, to really think about giving back to that particular sport, because you know somebody made a sacrifice for them, and we could have collegiate athletes give back. I think you'll see the improvement of the skill set, and you know it'll really help out in that particular sport. So I encourage those collegiate athletes to think about when they finish, give back.
And I think we're on our way there because you know I joked every episode about it, but I really feel like there's that atmosphere to take blue versus white to the next level. We already have a basketball team of 30 alumni.
Yes.
We already have a soccer team of almost 22 alumni who came together to go against our team. And I feel like, especially as a fundraiser, to have some legit games that we can really bring UB together. You know, even, I mean, we could have a live game, probably do it live stream, no audience, but just something like that would be, I think, so inspiring, especially if each of them even just give $100, you know? If each alumni just give $100, I feel like that could create something that could help somebody, maybe from the Family Islands, who's in that previous position.
Yes.
Agree holistically with you, Sean, alumni.
Yes.
We need to keep giving back, of course. This is my version of being back. I ain't shy to say it. I took a pay cut to come out to UB, but it's fun. It's a fun job. I never regretted it, and every day I get to say go Mangoes, and you know, or hear students saying go Mangoes, and they just look at me like, you don't got no mango spirit. You don't say it right, and I just looking at them like, I invent that though.
Yeah, Rem, I appreciate you, man. You're really doing a good job, and I've seen over the years how our brand has been marketed and sold throughout the Bahamas and even around the world. So hats off to you, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Go Mingos.
Go Mingos.
Sean. Go Mingos.
Go Mingos. Yes. Thank you.